How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Mullen, which was able to pull off a green day, being up more than 4.5% on the day, respecting the support levels we've been talking about. So many are asking, if we have strength inside of the markets tomorrow, what do I see Mullen doing? I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis from Mullen. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $1.35, being up 4.65%. On the low, it tested $1.25, and then on the high, testing $1.42. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 38.898 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 73.658 million shares. So that is well below the average in regards to volume, but hey, we saw some strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is at 35.39. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, the 100-day, the 21-day EMA, and as well as the 50-day. So it's clear to see that Mullen is in a bear market, trading below all of our major moving averages. But one thing that was good to see, we were able to hold 125 on the day. We saw that on the previous day as well, and we closed at 135. So it's very strange knowing that, hey, we wanted 133 to hold up, we had to pull back to 125, now we're closing at 135. So what I want to see is a continuation. We want to see some strength. This is crucial here. Since we did break through 133 and now we're holding 125, you want to see a strong move above the high of the day at 142. Most preferably for tomorrow, I would love to see us get to the 50-day moving average, which is at $1.82. I know that is a lot to ask for, but if you are a bull inside of this play, this is the move that you are looking for. If we continue to have resistance here below $1.50, as you can see, we had a high at $1.42, it raises the likelihood of support actually breaking, and we could possibly start testing down to $1.15, which I've talked about in previous videos. So again, we need to have some momentum above 150. This is crucial, and if we can get to $1.82 and actually close the week above that level, I think that's a good look for Mullen, and that's what bulls are actually looking for. But as far as for bears, again, if we continue to get rejected below 150, it's only going to be downside from here. Now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Mullen. Scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. So as you can see, we don't have any new or closed positions, but we can see there has been some changes in regards to Fidelity, and with all of the entries that they have put in, you can see there's a value change of them actually decreasing their positions. We have 78.93%, 78.72%, 81.82%, and as well as 80.65%. So that is something to keep an eye on there. And then when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 27.97%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 8.36 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 3.8 million, updated 23 minutes ago. And then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 10.92 with the high of the day at 16.99. Taking a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 25th, it was at 29.35. And then for the close of the 26th being at 27.97. So what this shows us right away, taking into consideration the short interest percentage of the float being at 14.95%, 5%. Mullen does have some short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution.
Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution from Mullen. So we see on the inflow, it is at 9.80 million, and then on the outflow, it's at 11.09 million. So we had an outflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large, it was 0.71. On the medium, it was 6.44. And then on the small, it was 2.65. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 0.77. On the medium, it was 7.89. And then on the small, it was 2.43. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for April the 27th, we have a negative outflow of 0.06 million. We also saw on the 26th a negative outflow of 1.85 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 13.88%. So this is not too bad for a volatile stock like Mullen. But like I said in the beginning of the video, it did hold up support. So I'm going to talk about what it looks like on the downside and as well as for the upside as far as for the short term inside of the final thoughts. So let's get into it right now. So for my final thoughts for Mullen, when it comes to the price action, if you want to see a bullish move for the short term, this stock needs to go to $1.50. Then the next level is $1.65, and if it can close the week at above $1.80, I think it would set itself up very well going into next week. We do have the Fed meeting, so if things go according to plan, if they end up doing the 50 basis point as far as for the rate hike, that is already priced in, and that's where I could see Mullen picking up some steam further. So that's why I say keep an eye on it. But again, we have Apple that's going to be coming out with earnings, and as well as for Amazon. So if they end up disappointing, I can see the market pulling back. But if they do well, then we could potentially see Mullen actually gain some more momentum. But do keep in mind, we need to have some more volume coming into this play. We've been having below average volume, and that is not the great thing to see. But if it can hold down the support areas at low average volume, at least we know if we have a catalyst that comes through, we could see some appreciation in the stock. Now, as far as for the downside, it is holding support fairly well at $1.25. If you remember, we wanted support to hold up at around $1.33. So now that we are at $1.25, if that level breaks, what was the level I told you guys about next? It's around $1.15. And if that area breaks, then we get a test going down to $1. So again, you want to be aware of that. So if you are going to be trading this play to the long side, use the right risk management. Have those stop losses. The last thing that I want you guys to do is just hold on to a play waiting for things to happen. You have to remember, there's always another play. But if you are an investor, this is not applicable to you. You believe in the long-term prospects. You see upside for the long term. So you're going to be adding if the stock decides to dip. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership, we see institutions have been reducing their positions in regards to activity. And then when we took a look at the short interest information, Mullen does have short squeeze potential, but like I said previously, it needs to have some more buying pressure coming into the stock. So whether that might be a catalyst or just buyers coming back into the play, that's where things could get interesting. And also, we are waiting on some more information on this Fortune 500 company that's looking at their EV vans. Again, I'm awaiting for that news. I know many of you are waiting for that as well. But since it is in the EV sector, I would keep a very close eye on it and see how it's performing alongside with its peers. This will give you a good idea if there's a good amount of demand for the stock or there's increasing demand coming into the stock as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how this stock performs going into tomorrow. We'll talk soon.